just had a bit. Is it September 12th?
13th, sir.
Oh God, I'm the wrong date. 13?
Yes, sir.
You sound 12 earlier.
Where did I go to 12? I suddenly turned. Oh God, I hate this.
Oh look, it's going everywhere. Hang on. Has anybody got a job?
Where is the map?
Oh look, it's everywhere.
Can't bear this bloody thing. What are they doing? Everyone's stinking.
Hello everyone, happy Thursday. How is everyone? Guess whose birthday it is today. It is Captain Wales. It is Captain Wales' birthday today. And a very happy birthday to him indeed. We're gonna have like a full birthday podcast a little bit later. And that's going to be filled with a lot more, I guess you could say, positive things and more of an actual celebrations. And I think I'll take calls for that podcast as well. But I wanted to get through a couple of bits of news that have come in since yesterday and this morning. So obviously, this is, going to be a very emotional time for Harry. It would be any year, but more so now that he's lost his grandmother. And I just hope that him and Meghan are having a good day. They're not going to be out and about today. The other royals are. That their names haven't appeared on any official schedule today. So I'm assuming that they are really just lying low today and trying to make the most of the day off and Harry's birthday. So I hope they're having a good day. But welcome everybody to the chat. Let's see who's in the chat today. Hit the thumbs up button, everyone. Thank you, everyone who's been following on Instagram. Do you know, I've had an Instagram account almost from the time that Instagram started, personal account, but it's never really grown. But my Harry and Meghan account, Dr. to Success Official, is growing like almost by 1,000 people a day, which in terms of Instagram growth in this time, that is just wild. So thank you to everyone. And welcome everyone to the chat. Hyacinth Ofer, I feel like I haven't seen your name. Welcome. Are you a newbie? Hi, Anna Zing Ao. You're on time for once. You're never late, dear. There is no lateness here. Join when you're free and watch on replay if you miss it. Hi, Church Nelly. Hi, Rory B. Hi, Crept Me Up Love. Rochelle's here. Who's here? Hi, Denise, Sonia. Blessings to you too, Prudence. Hi, Rita. All right, let's get on with the news. So there has been a huge hoo-ha over the holding of hands, and of course, people have really come out in support of our faves, because I feel like for a lot of people that maybe hadn't said anything, this was like the final straw. How are you picking on a couple over holding hands? What made up protocol are you talking about that a couple can't hold hands? Almost every other couple actually was holding hands except for Kate and William. And so I think a lot of this is just deflection from the fact that there are clearly issues in that marriage. This piece of brilliant artwork, you'll probably tell who this is by now. This is Cold War Steve. And he literally just put that up yesterday. And you can see the Tyndalls in the front holding hands, no one's saying anything. And Harry and Meghan in the back with all of the media pundits, as usual, in the background, screaming and yelling about a couple who is married with children holding hands. And thank goodness there was somebody there, someone to hold Harry's hand. Because the last time there was a major funeral like this, It was his mother's death, and nobody held his hand. His own father didn't hold his hand. They used him and his brother as a shield because Diana's death was such a PR disaster for the firm, and they used those kids to I guess channel people's hate into a sympathy. And there was no one holding Harry's hand. I mean, if you watch the funeral, there's a couple occasions where Charles just pats him on the back. And guess where he learnt that from? He learnt that from Her Majesty. There's a piece of footage when the Queen and Philip came back from a tour. I think they'd been away for months. And the Queen Mother actually brings Charles, who was then only a toddler, to see Mummy and Philip. And the Queen just pats him on the head. She doesn't hug him, she doesn't show him any warmth. At the end of the day, that's a little boy who's just excited to see his mama. He doesn't care that she's the Queen. And so you see what Harry means when he said, in the Me You Can't See, just because you went through something doesn't mean that your children have to go through it. In fact, I absolutely fundamentally believe that it is your duty to be a generational curse breaker, to do better than what your parents did, to do better for your children than what your parents did for you. And thank goodness Harry has had the bravery to do that for himself, for his children, and for his wife in a way that Charles could never. And I think the royal institution, which is really just a front for the establishment, is really going to struggle because the establishment need the royals to keep the class system intact. So please don't think that we're just going to rush straight into a referendum because people have been protesting or anything like that. Bear in mind that the royals are part of the establishment, and they are needed to keep that class structure alive. But if the person at the front of the establishment, that being Charles, is seen as very problematic, I think there's going to be a lot of issues. And slowly, I think you're going to start to see a lot of pushback towards the royal institution. And if what are we on now? Are we on day 7, day 8? Day 369, that's what it feels like. If this past week is anything to go by, we've got a bumpy few years ahead. I feel like I'm going to be on this podcast for a good couple of years, and not just to celebrate the amazing things that Harry and Meghan are going to do in the next few years, but also tracking what is ultimately, and by their own making, mind you, going to be the demise of this institution. To your comments before we continue. Welcome if you're just joining us. Rita, and I DM'd you about a comment from our Canadian talk show. I hope you got it. Okay, I'll have a look into that. Thank you so much. I'm very sorry if I don't respond to your DMs on Twitter or Instagram, but I just get so many. So many. If it's really, really, really urgent, you're better off just emailing me, to be honest. Yes, no VD. What better time to hold hands? No, I think that there is a lot of women who have never actually been shown true and deep love from their partners, and they're projecting a lot on Harry and Meghan, and they're directing their hatred towards Meghan in particular. I do think there's a lot of women who don't maybe it's partly a generational thing, not entirely, but I think partly it's a generational thing. It's just like, the prize is to, be with a man and be married. It doesn't necessarily matter, the quality of the marriage, as long as you're in a marriage and you have that wifey title. There's not really any other expectations. So I think to see a woman who is so loved, and being that that woman has the melanin in her, and that Harry is a very privileged white man, I think it does trigger some people. And I think also in our society, we have normalized this idea that if you are a very rich, privileged man, you have your respectable wife, and you're respectable in public, and then you have like a harem of women. And to me, from everything that I've seen, Harry is very much a man that is going to respect his vows and not entertain any debauchery. But unfortunately, that type of lifestyle, when you're a rich and privileged man, is very normalized. And so I think that also triggers a lot of people. And I've heard, people saying all types of things like, Harry is a simp, Harry, he's a pushover. To me, he just looks like a man who truly, truly loves his wife, and his focus is on his family, and his family is his masterpiece. Lynn, folks, read Cash Peters' podcast on YouTube. He did a reading on Harry and Meghan and others. William is making Harry go through some things deliberate. Cash Peters, who is that? Is he some kind of tarot reader? um let's see what else you're saying. Let's go through your comments before we continue. Harry and Meghan are setting the standard for those others because Zara grabs her husband's hand. Yeah, for sure they are setting a standard. Like some people really don't know how to love, and they don't know what it means to be loved, and it's really showing. Really, really showing. Um, Sarah, the Brits can't stop saying American. Sorry, can't stop saying that Meghan is an American divorcee, but they forgot the new king and queen are both divorcees. Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with being a divorcee. If your marriage was not working, if it was making you miserable, well, then get a divorce. As simple as. You don't just stay in the marriage for the sake of being in a marriage. Um, a marriage is meant to uplift you. You're meant to feel supported. You're meant to feel joyful, and that matters. And I also do think the fact that um, Meghan chose to divorce her first husband. I don't know what the circumstances were. I'm not going to speculate, but I think that also shows that she is, a woman who's not gonna uh, remain unhappy just for the sake of having that wife title. And I think that also triggers some people. And all of this Meghan hatred is happening on the backdrop of, I think, a re-emergence of what I like to call misogyny 2.0. I mean, the most popular man on the internet right now is a Wish.com pitbull impersonator named Andrew Tate, who is a rape apologist. Mental. Thank you so much, Maggie Margaret, for the super sticker, and also Elaine Parker for the super sticker. Yes, Karen M. Holding hands is a sign of supporting each other. I don't even understand like how this became controversial. But they had to find something. They had to distract from her utterly perfect curtsy. I'm so disappointed that we don't have a front view, or at least yet I have not seen a front view video of that curtsy, because it was flawless, absolutely flawless, perfect form and posture. And all of the other royal ladies only gave a half curtsy. Every moon, I'm no gambling woman, but I bet Charles and the others are foaming at the mouth to have them back in the fold. You are absolutely right, Every Moon. I believe that they are foaming at the mouth to have them back in the fold. And the leaks in the Daily Mail from the usual suspect, like Richard Eden, is somewhat proof of that. I think that this last 6 days has not gone how they wanted at all. I think they are very, very shocked at the pushback, and they need Harry and Meghan's support. They know that now. All right, on to the next thing. Right, so let's have a look at some of the other funny Queen tributes. Something a little bit more light-hearted. So yes, this was a window of a lingerie shop paying respects to Her Majesty. This is probably one of my favorite, actually. This. We also have someone did a watermelon carving A curry shop. Curry is actually one of the most popular meals in the United Kingdom, so a pretty fitting tribute. And also the Royal College of Music, this is, said that please close your windows to reduce sound during the mourning period for Her Majesty the Queen. Yeah, that's happening. Um, what else? Ah, yes. Eureka Parties, which is a nudist private members club, are going to be streaming the funeral. So if you wish to view the funeral in your birthday suit, you may go and join the club and join everybody else who will be watching it naked and hopefully respectfully not doing other things during the funeral either. Um, the queues are apparently so long that they are now 30 hours long. And this is to see the Queen. I absolutely agree with Tanaka here, who tweeted, I doubt the Queen is inside the casket people are queuing up for. I don't think she's inside that casket. I don't even think she's been inside the casket at all. I think it's way too much of a security risk having her up and down the country, procession after procession, from Edinburgh to London, for her to be in that casket. I don't think she's in there. I think it's very much for show. And I think that her actual coffin is already in a safe keeping place. But you had this guy camping on the concrete for a 30-hour wait. Mental. All right, to your comments before we continue. How's everybody feeling though? Like day 6? No, day 7. 6 days. Day 345. Oh, when will it end? I just want to go back to being an obsessed Meghan fangirl. I just want to go back to things being normal. And I forgot to put it on a slide, but Meghan was also meant to be on the cover of Variety and honored at the, I think Variety actually do have an awards show, which is super annoying. Like, oh, September was really going to be an amazing month. So she was also going to have a cover of Variety. Now they haven't cancelled that cover. It's just been delayed. But I cannot wait to see those pictures. There's so much waiting for Harry and Meghan when they get back home, and so therefore so much waiting for us. Carolyn, there is a front view of Meghan. A video though? Video or picture? I want the video. I haven't seen the video. Oh, Maggie, one of the Sussex podcasts does have a front showing. Oh, what's the name of the podcast, please? Somebody put it in the chat. Church Nelly, Harry and Meghan, please do not attend the coronation. Oh, I don't want them to attend either. You know, if they don't, then it's also gonna be a whole thing. Oh, I don't know. Maybe there would have been just a massive scandal or something, and so like that will kind of be what they need to have an excuse to not attend. Maybe there'll be like austerity protests or something, and then we might not even make it to Charles's coronation. Oh, hello, Joyce. Good morning from California to you too. Yes, Adrian, they can't break Harry and Meghan's love. Really, really upsets them. Lisa Woods, Meghan has gained even more global respect. The woman went back into a lion's den to support her husband, and people all over the world have taken notice. The UK looks like fools. Indeed. And if there's anything about all of this that gives it a silver lining, it's exactly what you've just said, Lisa Woods. Andrew, you're tired. I'm tired too. I'm tired too. Rory B. I wondered the same thing. Is she really in that casket? Well, you know, the Rangers like to be conspiracy theorists, so let's start some conspiracy theories too. The Queen's not in the casket. No, I don't believe she is. It's too much of a security risk. Like me personally, if I was planning it, I wouldn't risk it. Would you? It makes sense. At least when the world call America crazy, but all the foolery happening in the UK proves they are just as crazy. I think every country has their type of crazy. Emerald, I'm exhausted. I can't, so I can just understand how the Sussexes are feeling. I mean, whatever we're feeling, they are in the absolute thick of it. I just think that the lives that the the royals live is just I just think it's detrimental to anyone's mental health. Like nobody is meant to live like that. You're not meant to be a performer for your entire life. That's basically what they are. You're not meant to be a performer like that for your entire life. Even actual performers perform on stage and then they get off stage. And it's like your whole life is just a stage and a show. Uh, Maria, I hate queues. Well, if you've looked at some of the pro-monarchists on social media, the likes of Dan Woo Woo have done nothing but praise the absolute immaculate Britishness of the queues. Nobody queues the way we queue, and they're really hyping up our incredible ability to queue. Karen M. Megan has given up a lot since she has been in the UK. Oof. Yeah, that goes without saying. Mm. I do believe that one day Megan will write a book, and I feel like it might have to be like a series, like 5 parts. All right, moving on. These are the covers in the UK, by the way. For those of you who aren't on the side of the pond. Interesting that the Mirror and the Sun went for a similar picture, and I think it's because of Harry's expression. Um, I I believe he was probably just trying to look over somebody's in the front. There's Kate's shoulder probably to see what's in the front, but I think they chose this one because it almost kind of looks like he's turning his nose up, which we know he's not. But I think that's a message that they want to convey to their readers. But you know, Kate and William in the front there don't look their best either. The star went for the one of Kate looking very steely, and Megan looking very solemn in the back. So those are the front pages, and yeah, and this came up the other day. So Mark Rowley, who I think is one of the he's a Met police chief. He wants to get all 30,000 of the Met's officers to re-swear their allegiance to Charles. It's not legally necessary, but could be powerful, he told officers. They're doing an internal survey. This is how the Met Police want to waste their resources which are already stretched anyway, by getting all 30,000 officers to re-swear their allegiance. Mind you, the Met, the, the police force in general, in as far as I'm concerned, is meant to serve the people. They are not meant to be agents of the state of the monarchy. And in the picture, you actually see that's Charles giving an honor to Cressida Dick, who was a police. So she was the former head of the Met. I think she stepped down now. But how is this not a conflict of interest when the police and the royals are so close like this? And then you wonder why you hear whisperings of abuse from higher ups of politicians, but never any actual investigations follow. And it's because of this. It's because they're basically in bed with each other, unfortunately. Nash, they keep saying H&M are attention seekers, but they are the ones that they are paying more attention to instead of the Queen's funeral. Yes. This is like this is turned into the Harry and Meghan show, but they always do this. They say that Harry and Meghan don't matter, and they give them ample attention because this is money for them. They are going to absolutely milk this because they know that once Harry and Meghan get on that plane and go back to the US, they're going to be cut off again. Mm. Jacques, God, so much optics. Why worry about how you look when you're grieving? So frustrating. Yes, that is true. Uh, Mayra, I heard that other funerals are postponed until after the Queen's burial. How inhumane, really insane. Um, yes, I believe that they are postponed on the actual day of the Queen's funeral. Now, I mean, that is problematic um just in general, but more so, I think if you are of a particular religion, there are some religions where you have to bury the body within 24 hours. So can you imagine if your loved one just happens to pass away the day before the Queen dies, and you're not going to get to honor your religious practices? I just think that everything that they're doing is really going to contribute to a lot of pushback. And at no point has Charles said, you know what, let the burials for other people go ahead, let the food banks stay open, let the hospital appointments go ahead. He hasn't used his power to do any of that. And you got to ask why, because it would be such a small but very powerful gesture, and he's refusing to do that. Speaks volumes. Mm. Ma Jones, let's continue to pray. Continue to pray indeed. Kitty, it's safer for the monarchy to keep the public angry at Harry and Meghan than to let them question whether the rest of the family is worth the money. Yes, and I saw a post the other day that not just the Queen's funeral, but the entire handover to Charles could cost us up to 6 billion, and that's not just the funeral, but also reprinting of money, reprinting of stamps. Oh my goodness! And the taxpayers paying for all of that. We're paying for all of that. All right. Um, Elaine Parker, your daughter's MRI has been cancelled. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Elaine. Oh, this is just vile. I can't believe NHS the NHS board of directors, none of the doctors boards, no one has collectively come together to sign some kind of petition or letter. It's like they're all just mute silence. And we already have a terrible backlog in this country of NHS appointments because of Mr. C caused huge backlogs. Anyway, slightly funnier note, there was a lady who was contacted by Piss Moron's show, and this was how she responded. It's a little bit small on the screens. I'm going to read it out. It says, so this is from Piers Morgan's production team. Hi Talia, I'm Kieran at Piers Morgan's International Nightly Show. Piers Morgan Uncensored. I'm reaching out because I've seen the sad news that your hospital appointment has been cancelled on Monday, and I was hoping that you'd join Piers to talk about it. So, and then she responds, Hi Kieran, that'll be great. What would it involve? And then the producer responds, Hi Talia, thanks for getting back to me. Depending on your location, would either get you to our studio in London or organise a crew to come to you. We'd also pay you £250 for your time. We do the interview around 8 p.m. tonight. Would that work for you? Kieran. And then she responds, oh, brilliant. I'm based in Cardiff Bay. If that would work, around 8 p.m. would work perfectly for me. And then the producer responds, great. Can I get a phone number? And then Talia comes in for the sucker punch. She says, I was just kidding. I think Piers Morgan is total scum, and I want nothing to do with him or his failing TV show. Why anyone would is beyond me. If you're still looking for bookings, perhaps you can book Piers a therapist to get him over his deeply unhealthy obsessions with Meghan Markle and trans people. Oh no, she didn't. Yes, she did. And it was retweeted and liked. Well, at the time that I screenshotted it, retweeted over 400 times and liked over 2,000 times, but that's probably increased. Way to tell him, Talia. I actually messaged her myself. And if Talia, if you're listening, you're more than welcome to come on this show. We're pro Megan and we're good vibes. Angela, you know it has to be about Charles, period. Yeah, it has to be about him. Gina, he's not in charge, just like the Queen. He couldn't take any decisions. Well, it's interesting that he has fired quite a lot of his staff, almost 100. Now, because of the changeover of monarchy, yes, there would have been some changeover of staff, but I wouldn't have expected that many and so soon during the mourning period. And, you know, a lot of those staff that work in the palaces, their positions are generational. And part of the reason for that is because they tend to keep secrets within their circles. So if he's thinking that he's just going to hire all new staff, they're perhaps not going to be as loyal as perhaps other people who have been there for decades, some of them. And the way in which those people have been made redundant so suddenly, and it would appear without too much warning, I would expect quite a lot of leaks and perhaps some Butler memoirs coming to you very soon. After all of these biographies to trash Harry and Meghan, the next thing you're going to see is just like 20 Butler memoirs. What it was like shining Charles's shoes. Oh yes, Lucy Wynn, thank you for reminding us. Please remember to donate in honor of Prince Harry's birthday. I'm going to repost the fundraiser again on the community tab. I don't even know where we are now with money. I think the last time I checked, it was like over 30,000. Yes, Sherry Ware, the burn, third-degree burns. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame her, and thank you to Talia and all of those that have uh some morals in them still to not want to engage with the likes of Piss Moron, who just can't keep his mouth shut. You know, he was on his show, sorry, on Fox the other day, saying, Harry, if you really want to on your dad, Nick Shaw's salacious tell-all. How do they know it's a tell-all? You know, they tell on themselves so much. There is nothing in the description of Harry's biography that says that this book is a tell-all. And as I've said on the show many, many times, I don't think that this book that Harry's written is going to have anything particularly salacious at all. I think this is very much going to be within the same vein of that, you know, Michelle Obama's becoming, this is my story, this is how I overcame. Very positive, very uplifting, candid, but I don't think it's going to be a tell-all at all. Do I think he will write a book that's a tell-all eventually? I do. That is on my bingo card. But I don't believe it's this one. And I think that they're telling on themselves by continuing to freak out about Harry's book. And just look at the amount of articles that Piss Moron has written about Meghan. And there's probably a lot more since this collection was put together. Absolutely obsessed. And I do hope that, you know, there is a court case involving Piss Moron coming soon. And I hope that really just exposes him, for the liar that he is. He has this whole platform based on, being outraged about wokeness, outraged about this, that, and the third. And let me tell you, the only thing that people like Piers Morgan are outraged by is if they look at their bank account at the end of the year and they haven't made six figures. That's all they care about. They just care about money. They're not actually outraged about anything. And they will sway and go where the money is flowing. And it's just mad to me that their followers don't see this. All right, over in New Zealand, you had this happen. So there was uh, a rugby player, 25-year-old young woman named Caitlin Moran, and she posted an Instagram post where she called the Queen a dog. Now, following this, she was suspended, although was not banned. However, there was uh, another player, a man, who um, who pled guilty to sharing child abuse material, and people are pointing out the double standards between the treatment of this woman and how other um, players are treated, particularly male players. She had 25% of her salary taken from her. She was also fined. Whereas you had another player, a gentleman named Matt Lodge, another one, Zane Musgrove, and Jack DeBellin. Hang on a sec. Whilst the likes of okay, so I was trying to read the bottom tweet there, but I'm not quite sure it makes sense. But I think the point that they're trying to make is that there's other players who have been involved in, other nefarious things, domestic violence, drugs charges, but the same amount of commentary and vitriol is not directed towards them, and they seem to just get on absolutely fine. So this has caused quite a bit of backlash over in New Zealand. CMAC, wonder if Tom, Thomas Markle was planning to come to the funeral. We haven't heard from him for a while. I think he's laying really low. If it's true that he is being paid by someone in the palace, or he's in contact with someone in the palace, I think because this is Charles's kingship that is on the line, I think that they don't want to take attention away from Charles. So that's probably why you haven't heard anything from Thomas Markle this time. Tiger Harry should keep delaying his book just to make these snakes freak out. uh, no, I think it'll go ahead for the Christmas release for sure. Oh, but you know what's gonna happen? What they're gonna try and do? Remember with Philip's passing, there was like the funeral, and then there was like another memorial. I think that they'll do that as well, and there'll probably be like 5 memorials, and that if Harry doesn't show up to all of the 5 memorials, he's disrespecting the Queen. Like, it's become such a predictable script at this point. Like, we know what's coming. Ben, Angela Latrine was interviewed by a Canadian CTV reporter this morning. She did not mention Meghan. The reporter used the word on camera. I wonder about off camera. Well, Miss Angela has gone very silent, very suddenly. Very, very silent. So, as this gentleman tweeted, and I did cross check myself, and he is absolutely right. I've just scrolled through Angela Levin's Twitter and hasn't liked or retweeted any tweet hating Meghan. She's got a book to flog and has no credibility. The Murdoch network that she used to spread lies turned on her and humiliated her. There's no way she would miss the opportunity to criticize Meghan for Harry holding her hand. Someone must have told her to lay low. I think so as well. I think so as well. And that someone, I believe, is coming from Charles and Camilla's camp because she is writing Camilla's biography. Lorna Williams, Duchess of Success. After seeing The Walkabout, I think that next time Harry should hire a personal aide. Security for Meghan to take flowers and escort her when she is in the UK on a walkabout. Well, it's interesting that they actually didn't have one themselves. I haven't seen any of the Archwell staff here either. Maybe they just don't want to stress out their staff or put their staff in the spotlight. Lynn, Harry has approximately 4 books to write. I believe he will write the books in sequence. Harry's not stupid. Well, the deal that he has, I believe that it is a multi-book deal. Julia, I heard the corgis are rebelling. Well, at least someone's rebelling. I mean, the subjects aren't rebelling. They're lining up to see a coffin that's probably empty. Rebellion has to start somewhere. Um, Medicine. Harry's book could be about his time entering the British Army, his processing and healing to uplift the military and veterans. I believe that it will include that, yes. I do. I do believe that it will include that. Okay. So over in King Charles's camp, Charles is apparently retired to his beloved Highgrove estate after dropping Camilla at her Wiltshire mansion. See, these people don't even live together, as the new monarch is afforded 24 hours of contemplation during the hectic schedule of events leading up to his mother's funeral on Monday. Translation: they cannot believe the amount of bad press they've gotten, and they need some time to regroup. Trevor Noah did a really funny script on the Pengate that's doing the rounds, and it's gone super viral. It's hilarious. And he also plays a clip from that documentary about Charles and his butlers, where the butler had to come into the room and pick Charles's letter out of the bin. All right, and despite telling world leaders that they could not use, or they should not use, or avoid using private jets and helicopters, here he is being helicoptered back to his estate yesterday. One rule for me, another for thee. That's pretty much all for this podcast. I will see you later on today, my lovelies. We'll get through your comments and then we'll wrap things up now and see each other again later. Tiger Hub. Thomas Markle just got a restraining order served against him this week for threatening a paparazzo in his book or something. Scum of the Earth. Yes, I believe it's actually the paparazzo that took the paparazzi pictures of him just before the wedding, no? B10 Power, well, Duchess, we need to keep the momentum up about that rat Angela Levin. The more we call out her nasty behavior, the more we can cause her to maybe reflect on her past words. You know, they've been going on and on and on about Harry cancelling his book. I think it's going to be Angela Levin who cancels hers. Marcia, where Harry is adding to his book, maybe that's why it's delayed. Well, he could very easily add something to his book almost every single day. So I'm sure they are waiting until the nth hour to go to print. Because this whole week can be a whole chapter. Jane Commonwealth, I hope the corgis bite Anne in the butt. Me too. Me too. Those poor dogs. All right, who's going to get the last word of the day? Ella Quinn, if I were the corgis, I'd rebel too after finding out you were going to the to the Peas house. Yeah. Joan, Uh, okay, no, I won't read that one out. Um, uh, Charmaine. So what happened to Chuggy slimming down the monarchy? Definitely not a man of his word. Yeah, I never understood this whole slim down monarchy nonsense. I mean, once Harry and Meghan were gone, that's pretty much the slim down monarchy you wanted, right? Because aside from himself, Anne, and William and Kate, they're like the most senior royals. So it's like all of the others are just always in the background anyway. Sylvia, what happened to the Queen stuff? Probably some of them will get let go. The some of them will probably get kept. I mean, if you have worked for the Queen on your reference, I'm sure there's plenty of aristos that will love to have you. Mhm. All right, Rosa Roberts, I'm going to give you the last word of the day. Yes, everyone have a fabulous day, and I will see you later. I will do a live call show, and I will open up the chat lines if you want to say anything. But until then, see you later, everyone. Ciao.